Oh my goodness, girl. It feels like we just came back from the movies. You know how you and your friend girl, you and your friend girl, you guys just all went out to the movies and you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, what about this part? What about that part? What did you think of that? I mean, seriously, we're literally miles apart, but we're watching the same movie, synchronized our clocks, started it at the same time. My headphones are too tight. These are new. Anyway, what did you think about that?
Um, I thought that there are many. I think overall there are many parallel characters. I think yes, I think that the roles are very similar to yeah. I think that the roles can be broken down. In many ways. I think for any and even sentiment. I think all of it can be broken down and the vulnerabilities
Yes,
the
yes,
vulnerabilities, the expression, um,
yes.
anything that's the humanities,
It was a trip. I
any
mean, it was a trip. I mean, I'm glad that we chose that particular version of 1984. Hello, folks that are coming in. It is Felicia, and I'm here with BlackSpring. And we are talking about the movie 1984. She and I just pulled it up and we watched it on Prime, and it was pretty good. But I will say that, I watched it a while ago, but I never really slowed down like I did this evening when Black Spring and I started watching it, because we watched it with the express purpose to come here and share what we thought about this movie with you guys. Right. And so, gee whiz is all I got to say. I think now that we're going through some of the things we're going through here in the States, I think maybe that's another reason why we feel the way that we do now, because now you can see some correlations. What do you think?
absolutely yes. I think I will tell you. It brought some other things I thought that were kind of course ahistorical to the US. It brought some thoughts of what maybe 1930s, Germany. I thought of Anne Frank.
Yes,
I
with the
thought
red
of
sash. Yeah, when they talked about the red sash, I thought about a couple of things when they said, the red sash around the girl's waist or whatever. Anne Frank, certainly, because of the yellow star. It was a yellow star. Um, but yeah, I agree. So we are talking about we're actually doing our rendition of a Siskel and Ebert review of a very old movie, ah, of 1984. We literally just synced our televisions and watched it together. We watched the 49, almost 50-minute version that's available on Prime, and it's 1984. It is starring Eddie Albert and Lauren Green. And so it was directed by, these are all old people, and I know about all these folks. Paul Nixell, I think that was it. Nickel. Anyway, it was really good because it was short, sweet, concise, and to the point. But let's talk about a couple of the things that I noticed from myself with regards to today. The first thing, and we both have our notepads, you guys, so you're gonna hear us shuffling the papers because we were some writing soul sisters. We were sitting here writing all the stuff down. Welcome to everyone in the stream. I appreciate you guys for being here. We're just having a real relaxed evening. We have a big, huge show that's scheduled for tomorrow. We had to make some changes for the original show for tonight because we added a couple of hot people with our topics tomorrow. So we pushed it to tomorrow for everybody's convenience. But with that said, let's get right into it. The one thing I noticed, Black Spring, was how comfortable they got with telling information. Did you notice that? They got comfortable with talking to each
yes.
other, you know? And then did you notice how he got, and by he, I mean the Eddie Albert character, how comfortable he got with that elderly gentleman at the shop? He didn't think of anything.
Right. Right. That happened right away. There was no there was he right, he went right away, he didn't really pay attention to his words or even observing. I think he was fascinated by I think it was like a bait and switch almost in that sense.
Yes,
You're fast and so that I think his guard went down. Maybe his guard went down because he was seeing so many of these what do you want to say, these relics or these trinkets or these, anything that were, anything that inspired, thought or
yeah, his memories
expressions.
from the
Yeah.
past. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was the truth too. So let's look at how. Okay, so for me, I noticed in the very beginning some of the things that were being said, letter A, by the narrator, which was so true. Where he talked about the fact that while we're relaxing pretty much in our fight for all these great things, the religion, the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of thought, which is what was one of the main themes throughout the movie, was how they continuously spoke about the freedom of thought. And
Yeah.
that, I think, is what we're all seeing right now, how everybody wants to control what you think to such a degree that they go out of their way to manipulate information and manipulate things. And so that was another thing that I noticed, and I thought that was a trip. But what about that song? See, I had heard that song a long time ago under
Under
the I wrote it. It's
willow.
under no, it's under
What,
the
tree.
spreading the under the spreading chestnut tree.
Yes.
I sold you and you sold me. I sold you and you sold me. Okay? That was a trip. And so it says, no matter where you are, there I am, there you be, but under the spreading chestnut tree. The fact is that they were really, to me, trying to say it doesn't matter, who gets caught. If it's to save my neck, I'm gonna tell on you.
Well, you know what? I was trying to pick up. I was trying to pick up as many of the lyrics in that tune.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it was almost
that's
like
what.
they.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like they both made appearances under that tree at different times. So it's just right. There's got to be there's some significance here.
and I think if we really had a lot of time to just break it
Mhm.
down, we would see that there's a whole lot more than meets the eye to this particular movie because we watched the 50-minute version, you guys, on Prime Video, but I believe that if we just were to sit down and break it down even more, we'll find out more. A few years ago, I asked my brother what was the deal, but biblically with India. I kept noticing a lot of things and a lot of things that were going on with India. I know that Barack Obama had spent some time of his life in India. I know that Kamala Harris's family is from India, her mother and her father. And then the guy who wrote this, George Orwell, was born in India. And so I
Oh,
don't, yeah. And so, I don't know what it is about them. And then also at the CERN, they have Shiva, the god of destruction, right outside of the CERN in Switzerland. And that was a gift to them from India. So I'm like, what is it with India?
yeah.
I don't
That's
know what
interesting.
it is. Hey, AZ Infidel, Brenda Davis, how are you all? Thank you so very much for coming out and visiting us tonight. Yeah, we're
Hello.
just we're just having a really quick girls talk about a movie that we just sat down and watched. As you guys can see, it is 1984. One thing I'll say is it really reminded me of a very benign or seemingly benign movie. Autumn, can you guess? You know what it reminded me of?
No, 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 right off.
Well, okay, I have to qualify because my brain be going way on the other end, all the way to come back. It goes to the other end just to come back to what I'm trying to say. Nipping it in the bud, it reminded me a lot of, well, what we're dealing with right now today. Let me say that reminds me a lot of the Wizard of Oz because we're looking for, a country to protect us or give us our courage, to give us everything that we need. And that's why this movie reminded me of the Wizard of Oz, because the brain, the scarecrow needed the brain, and they wanted Big Brother to do everything for him, for them. Did you notice? To me, they were sort of like, "Yeah, we love it. Sure, go ahead, give us some more." And that's what, I don't know. To me, it did remind me of the Wizard of Oz. I think it's because once you get to the wizard, you see, you pull back that curtain, and you see that there was nobody but this little old guy pulling levers. And when the man was sitting on the screen talking about the guy who they said was the propagandist or whatever, saying,
Yeah.
fight Big Brother, fight him. You may find out that you've got strength. He may not even exist, and all this other stuff. That's what reminded me of the Wizard of Oz. That the guy that was sitting on the screen when they did their hate speech to him,
Yeah, yeah.
2 minutes of hate speech, they were saying,
Yeah.
he was saying all that he was saying, but it just reminded me that that's exactly how it was with the Wizard of Oz. They put all this power in this one thing, this one person, and they were afraid, because remember, they didn't even want to approach the inside of Oz. They really didn't want to get too close because they were afraid. So it's like this fear that the movie 1984 had over all the people who were in the city, or the subject. The fear was really what they allowed them to do to them. Like when the guy told him, "How many fingers do you see?" and he inflicted pain. He said, "4." And you guys, Autumn and I were watching it, and I just fell out laughing. I knew I was supposed to be quiet because we were taking notes, but I was like, he just told that fool that's 4, 5, but he had up 4 fingers, and he kept telling him it was 5 fingers until he submitted to it. Then he finally went ahead and relented. He said, "Okay, yeah, it's 5," but it was literally 4 fingers. So the thought police part of it, that was like so today. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I certainly agree. I'm going a little bit outside of the thought police for a second. Well, I maybe I won't. I will say I thought it was interesting the way I think that this might even be hinging on maybe just slightly something biblical. I think that the woman was used in this as as a kind of a temptress or a as a
Yeah,
vulnerability,
yeah.
to get him, let me get him to lay it all out on the table. Let me lay it all out in this chocolate piece of candy, and
The chocolate of it
well,
all.
I'm gonna bring him chocolate, and I'm gonna I'm gonna show some skin. And I mean, it just like she just took him, he became more vulnerable. Like, I think he let even more down.
More of a tear down.
Yes, but the other thing is, I think they were more. She was feminist first. She can be the feminist and militant sister.
Yes,
She was almost sister soldier on her
yes.
little hate speech post. But she can also be the seductress to take you out or get you to taste that forbidden fruit, and
Mm,
you're done, give you up.
mm. Yes, you're absolutely right. I didn't think about it that way. But I know you're right, because remember when she brought him all those goodies, it was like this lowering, I mean, even though she, got in trouble too, so they say, because they showed that she did. But she did. She sort of lured him with the whole food piece, like, "Oh, look at the coffee." He's like, "Oh my God, coffee." He was, hey, I'm with him on the coffee though. I'm sorry, I got to have my coffee, but I thought that was pretty unique, how all the very regular, just the general things of the day, they did not have. They had
Yeah.
given so much of their power up to Big Brother that they did not even have coffee, jam, bread, the little can of milk that she brought. To
Yeah,
your point,
sugar.
chocolate. Yeah, sugar, real sugar, she said, not saccharin. Um,
Right.
she said real sugar, not saccharin. And the sad part is that even though we found, obviously the entertaining piece of it, because, well, we're at home watching the show. Well, not at the same place. She's miles and miles and miles and time zones away. But the fact is that we decided to have a girls' night and watch the movie, right? Even though we're able to laugh a little bit and find some humor, I think it's more of nervous laughter for me, because the movie was so spot on, and it is such a prolific movie in that it was written so long ago but it has everything that we are dealing with right now today, even down to the children being indoctrinated enough to turn the parent in.
Yes, I thought that was very convincing, that the child's appearance, you know, it's almost like, hey, like, you guys hate weapons on the left, and now you turned it on to you're putting a gun on your parents, and you guys are, yeah, you're pretty convincing with your with
The
what
little
you're,
girl, yeah,
yeah,
because the little
yeah,
girl was like, and then after she told the man, when the father and the little girl go to Eddie Albert's house, she's like, "Hey, yo, what are you doing?" She comes in pretending like she's going to arrest him, and the father found humor in it then, until the very same
yes,
child ended up being the reason why he was turned in. And it showed how indoctrinated the kids were. And he said, these kids are even, and I'm paraphrasing him here, but he was just saying how I wish that I had that zeal for the government when I was a child. How he was just, oh my God,
yeah,
she's just awesome, isn't she? And to think,
right,
this guy didn't even do anything in his physical. He was asleep. And he said, down with Big Brother. He said, apparently I said it several times. And the guy was like, Eddie Albert's character was like, well, who finally turned you in? Who turned you in? It was my daughter. Oh, but you know what? She didn't mean any harm. And I'm like, all the way to the death, this guy was
yes,
literally defending Big Brother.
yes, yes, and yeah, absolutely. I thought that was an intense, that was pretty intense, that
Yes,
her, I mean, yeah, that she did that. Yeah, that's, I think it was a lot, it kind of washes over you, a film like this, because I think there's a lot of, what can I say? There's so much symbolism in there that you can miss. You can
yes.
miss some of it.
How many pages of notes did you take from this? Because I got at least three, and I'm
Uh,
on a legal pad.
well, I've got about 3, which it's kind of sketchy, but there's front back, and then one, so maybe 2.5,
So we
like two
took
and a
a
half.
lot of notes off of this, and I'm sort of stunned because even though the movie was old and we're doing a review on it, here's the trip. Some of the things that I wrote down that I saw, I'm sort of concerned about saying it on my platform. Okay, because look, listen, I can look at the correlation between their telescreens, those big giant screens that they had in their house where Big Brother could peer in,
Hmm.
where it was almost like a scolding mother character would scream at him whenever he was about to walk out the house and he didn't have on something that was his identifier, like the, I think
Yes,
it was the badge.
the badge. Yes,
So
yes,
we can
absolutely.
correlate that mother character that was looking at him through the television. You can't go out. You can't go out without that. Now you can turn that around to people right now with muzzles walking
The
around.
mask,
And yes,
absolutely.
and so I'm not
Yes.
saying, I was just looking at that. I was like, wow, that was written so long ago. And here we're looking at this and we're juxtaposing it to 2020, and the movie obviously written for the 1984 period, way back in the 40s, 50s, or whatever. That part got me, is how, they said not only did you have those big screens in the house, but they also had the telemonitors outside in the community.
Yes, yeah. But you know what? Here's another thing that I think, and I'm going back a little. I'm going to digress just a second. Going back to the women and the woman's role. I think the same thing, that there's another parallel to right now, where you do have women who are that seem to have a propensity for dedicating themselves to the state. Whichever level, whether it's federal, whether it's
Mhm,
state level, whether it's,
mhm.
it's, they are, and that's the Julia character, that was her front. That was that was her, to me, that was her sister soldier moment. You got,
Yeah, yeah,
not big shoulder pads, but
yeah.
she looked
You're
hard to
right.
me.
Yeah,
she was feminist. She was a
yeah,
feminist
yeah.
to
She
me.
really was. She was. Well, I thought also that it was funny how they said that these two particular guys were heroes at first. I think it was Jones and Rutherford.
Yes.
Jones and Rutherford. And then the next thing you say, he goes, the guy, when he and the guy who got turned in by the daughter, I don't remember his character, but they were sitting right across the table and he was like, oh, we don't want to sit right here because we don't want to disturb them. Did these guys not look like they had a lobotomy? They just sat there. They didn't smile. And it was a trip because they had just had a quote awakening. They had gone to a re-education
A
camp, and that,
lesson.
yes,
Yeah.
they had a lesson. That's what they called it, a lesson. And I'm sitting there like, that was a lesson. What in the heck did they do to them? Other than it looked like I was looking to see a hole in the front of their frontal lobe. That was a trip. What do you think about the way that Lauren Green's character, who was like the government, sort of lured Eddie Albert's character into falling into his trap? What do you think about that?
I I don't I think
And do you see
I
any correlations to today?
let me see. I think I do, but I'm not quite sure how I wanna spin it. Who I wanna spin that on. I mean, well, no.
I think it's a reason why it was just one person for the government. You know why? I think to me that's like a subliminal message that, hey, there is only one. There is no two. There are no
Mhm.
two bad guys. There's just that one bad guy, and they might all sort of divide up into different characters, and they may play good cop, bad cop one day. One might be the good cop today, one might be the bad cop today, but they're all a part of the same, regime or whatever. Like the man um, at
That
the
shop.
store, yeah,
Yeah,
at the shop,
okay.
he turned him in, and so it was like he was a part of those cats, and it was just that one representative of the government showing it's the government. It's not the blue and the red. It's just them against
Yeah. Yeah,
the
yeah,
Eddie
you're right.
Albert character.
Well, I didn't think, well, what I didn't catch is when he said, "It may not be as comfortable." He was like, there's a way through the green, through the lawn or something, but then he said, "You won't be as comfortable as you would. I'm sorry, you won't be as comfortable as you would like here."
Yes, when he was talking about the re-education, talking about he was going to educate him. Is that the part where you're talking about he was going to educate him?
Well, this is when I think he was taking the room, or he had accepted the rental of that
Oh,
room.
yes, yes. I'm sorry. I thought
No,
you
no, no,
meant
no.
the other guy. Okay, cool. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that was, I didn't catch that until, I'm like, what does he mean you're not, I mean, of course you're operating. Basically, I think the guy was telling him from the beginning, this is, these things are, pretty much useless in this world, but you're welcome to buy, whatever you want. But then, eventually when he after he showed him, and he let him know that you won't be as comfortable here. I didn't catch, that, does that mean he's compromised? It's kind of making me look at our, oh my gosh, I'm starting to realize what you're saying. Like, who should we, is everybody suspect?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Now you see the piece that I was
Who-
saying, because I was sitting there like, yo, wait a minute. Trip, he's really giving him a lot of messages without coming right out and saying it. And it went right over his head. It went right over his head. And so I was thinking to myself, this isn't going to end well because he's too ecstatic. He's like too relaxed. It was like he got very relaxed and he forgot to keep his guard up while dealing with the elderly man. He was easily manipulated by the elderly man when he said, well, this is a place that my wife and I had. That sort of lowered his resistance to, to watching him. It's like, okay, I can trust him. He's telling me about his wife that
right.
passed away. So it was like I saw how weak he was with regards to not keeping up his guard. That I noticed that he kept his guard. His guard was lowered there, but his guard was heightened when he was trying to convince her that they needed to fight the resistance for the future. And she's like, yo, tomorrow might not even come. We need to,
Right.
all we need is us, just here, you, me, right now. And his sacrifice that he made was for people he didn't even know. And it was for naught because look where he
Right.
ended up.
Well, yeah, I will say I was suspect of her once immediately after she was saying exactly what you said. Oh, well, it's not going to matter, I'm just thinking, well, that's kind of after you've gone to this, after you guys have gone and introduced yourselves and shown your interest in the what they refer to it as the outer party. Are we a part of the outer party right now? Who's the? I mean, are
Hmm, I don't want to be in the inner party. I know that. No, thank you. I don't want to be a part of that. Did you notice what was written up on the wall? It was everything was upside down. It was like backwards. War is peace.
yes, yes, and
Freedom,
and
freedom
slavery.
is slavery, and ignorance is strength. I'm like, and upside down is kooky. It's like night is day, day is night, and everybody's like, "Ooh, you're so deep." No, I'm trying to manipulate you, stupid. It was like, I was like, war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. But excuse me, think about all the people who were out in the street yelling and arguing and protesting, and that I bet if you stopped them, they wouldn't even know why.
Right, because I kept seeing, during that little hate speech that, they were yelling, "Liar!" Who else do they call a liar? Who else
Yes,
do we know that
yes,
that's one of the buzzwords, that we hear that in a loop all day, every day. "He's a
yes.
liar! Liar! Get him!
Yes,
Burn him! Hang him
yes.
up! String him up!"
Get a rope. Get a rope. Hey, but wait a minute. Okay, before they had the 2 minutes of hate, what did you notice about the noise that was happening at that big giant screen? I'm telling you, this movie had everything that we're dealing with right now today. When you lose, when they lose a little kid, or they want to get your alert, they want to. What do you hear
Like some kind of,
on your cell phone without even? Don't call my number with that loud noise. They had the alert that sounds just
right,
like
right,
the
right, right,
Amber
right.
Alert at that big screen when they were about to do the hate speech. When they were like, okay, it's the hate moment. It's like the 2 minutes of hate. Come on. And so they were all hating the guy that was telling the truth, like the truth speaker. But it was that sound that you have that comes involuntarily over your phone, that is the Amber Alert. I have a feeling that Amber Alert is not just about lost children. I have a feeling
See?
that thing, now that I
Oh
saw
my
this, I'm
god.
like, oh, wait a minute.
But you know what?
Oh, what?
I think, and see there again, we may have to talk about this one off screen of what I've done with, what you can do with that Amber. That Amber Alert kind of drives me bananas. It seems like it's always very inconvenient, when it comes on, even though it's, you're making me alert, you're keeping me abreast of something, of a white car and 5 digits on the back of the tag.
Girl, I
But
went in there and dismantled that thing. I probably unhooked a whole bunch of stuff just to stop that thing from being disturbing. I was like, no, just give me if you want to send a text, put it on TV and do something, but stay out of my telephone. And I went in there and turned the alert off. What,
oh
I wasn't
yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
do that? Oh, okay,
Well,
okay.
no, 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 I mean, yeah, I'm like, let me just disable. See, there again, you're bringing out another point. You want to find, they made a conscious effort to, in the vulnerability, they wanted to find a place where there was a screenless, or, they were looking for places like that. But I'm just wondering, right now, how many places are there that we don't know that are under surveillance? It's a surveillance state. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
In
yes.
our in our most
I thought
vulnerable
about
times,
that. I thought
when if
about that.
so yeah, I just, it was just funny to watch them, you know, I'm not, the Julia says, "Oh, I'm not dedicated to the state. I don't believe in that." And, I'm not dedicated to the state. And, it was just, it's just, and they had, the uniforms, BB. was on every, like, you guys might as well have that tattooed on your backside, right?
But what does the BB part mean? Hi, old head dudes. Hey, Chef Disaster. How are you? But what did the BB mean?
Was the BB was, I would imagine it was Big Brother.
Oh, duh.
I, I thought that, I thought they had the BB. The BB was on, on the chest, and I think maybe
Was.
the other plate, the name badge
Yes.
that had that on there. So they were trying to make sure that you could be located or identified. And I'm just thinking, see, that's another part of the surveillance. You got to identify your people. You got to keep them labeled. And see that, then
Yes.
that goes back to our muzzles.
Yes.
You
And
know,
being aligned with a specific belief system that says, I need you to control me. I need you this because if you think about it, those people didn't just get there by accident. Listen, they only had three what countries?
yeah.
Everything had been dwindled down to three regions. And I'm
Right,
like,
and that's a parallel too, right?
yes,
Three
even in the
superpowers.
Bible. Yes, even in the Bible, you don't see the eagle anymore.
Oh
I'm gonna
wow,
leave that
super
right there.
states,
That's for yes. And they were what? Oceania. But we have our
Eurasia.
hands, yeah, but we have our hands in the original Oceania. Our hands are in Oceania because that's where you've got the Samoan Islands, and Fiji, and a few other places is where Oceania is. Here, when you think about it in this frame, so I don't know, but there was only three places, and I think one of them were was a part of India as well. It mentioned something about India there too. What did you I'm going over my notes here, and
Mhm.
I think okay. So I think I wrote down here. I was like, the government guy sort of lured him and played him. He sort of, he gave up the address. The Eddie Albert he gave the address up really quickly. Like, okay, yeah, this is where we're staying. Yeah, this is where we're having our liaison. You can come and meet us over there. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
jeez.
how can you just give up all your truth and your information because you think you can trust this guy? Excuse me, you think you can trust him? And I'm like, wow, this was so amazing. I That was it. So okay, we talked about the sugar, um, just the basic natural things that you would want to have. The post traumatic stress syndrome. Do you see how they used Eddie Albert, the character Eddie Albert character, with the post traumatic stress with the rat?
Yes,
And did you
yes.
see how he jumped? And get this. Do you notice how the Lauren Green character, the captain or the major or whatever in the military, he knew that he had that as his
Right,
phobia,
right, right. I remember that. But
never
then
lived with him.
no, but then also, right, something from, was it from his
Yeah,
childhood interactions? And
yeah,
then I saw that with her. It was almost like she was able to bring that out with when they were together in that room. And yeah, it was like he wanted to make sure, it seems like they thought they saw a mouse in the room, and he ran away. And it was like she totally, yeah, he
yeah. But
totally not given up.
but I think for us right now, as we look at the correlations between that movie and what we're doing now, we can see that we're way behind. It's like we should have, even though some of us probably weren't even paying any attention to this movie years and years and years and years ago, somebody should have told us about it back in the 70s and the 80s, when we were little kids, or maybe somebody should have told us about it in the 90s when we were raising when I was raising kids and stuff, you know what I mean? Because this is something that literally slipped up on us. We have given up the majority of our rights for what we think is safety and peace. And really, do you even, what is that old phrase? There's a phrase that says, was it Jefferson? I forgot which one of the guys said it, but he was like, I'm paraphrasing, the person that would give up his safety and security, freedom for
Was
safety and
it
security, don't deserve neither.
right, right. Is it Ben Franklin?
I believe
Perhaps,
it
maybe.
is. It could be. Don't quote me on who it is. You see, I'm
I
paraphrasing.
think that's actually correct. Ben Franklin, and you, yeah, you this. It did make me think about founding fathers, also, like about what, like the eternal vigilance about how you have to keep, you have, like at the beginning, you have to keep fighting for your freedom, otherwise it becomes stale, or you know what I mean, like it becomes, you have to keep it alive, you it with so with with so much time, I think it becomes more, it doesn't, you have to keep the flow going somehow. You can't let it go stale, or something like that. But I think
Well,
you're quoting Franklin for sure.
yeah, yeah, you don't deserve either. The person that would give up, their natural freedoms for a little bit of safety and security or peace or whatever, you don't deserve any of it. Another thing that I think was we would be terribly beat up by whomever really loves this movie if we did
Yes.
not bring up a very important part. These mother scutters actually erased the history on screen in our faces. And if that's not what's going on right now, I don't know what is. They said
Yeah.
the history had to be changed, and it was the news media that told the guy, hey, you held them as a hero, scratch that, basically change this, change that, change the history yesterday. What do you
Yes.
think
Yes.
about that?
I thought that was speaking to quite a bit, like of what our media is doing right now, or they're backdating, or even we could even go into the alleged fraud, or let's backdate it to fit our to fit our purposes, or our agenda, or believe what you're told, no matter what you're hearing, this is what you go with,
Yeah, no matter what it
like
is, this is what you're gonna believe. And they change the history. And I'm gonna tell you something. The changing of the history piece, I remember being a little upset when I found out that things that we all knew that we went to go back and look for, that people sort of move things. You know what I mean? It's like, what happened to the house that was down the street on the corner? There was never a house down the street on the corner. Yeah, it was. My grandmama and them was in it. And I remember there was a floorboard that creaked in the living room. There was never a house down the street. And I just get out my face. Let me go find somebody who knows. But they are removing the history right now. They're rewriting it. And that's part of how they are. This place is going to be a 1984. I don't care what anybody says or thinks. I pray to God I'm not here to see it. But this is going to be that, because if you look at it, they literally are taking down everything that means that was ever any part of our history,
right,
good and bad,
right,
good, bad, indifferent. They're removing it. And that's so not only what they were doing with the newspapers, scratching people out, and then look, first they hailed Jones and Rutherford as a hero, and then the next thing you see, they told these people that they were, oh my gosh, let me get that line, because I was like, what? They did what? They were saying that they were sleeping with women,
yeah,
that they had, that they
the
had
book of
relations.
Cassandra.
Yeah, yeah, that they had the book of Cassandra. They had relations with women. They were embezzlers, and they
Well,
murdered several of their party people. I was like, you
let
just
me
said these
ask
cats
you
were.
this. What do you think? Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm reaching. I'm grasping at something, not at nothing. But what do you think the Book of Cassandra? What is could the
Hmm.
Book of Cassandra be? Could it be? Could it be a religious book, or could it be?
Hmm.
I like that. That's the Book of
Interesting.
Cassandra. What
What was that mad book?
was it? Because I remember hearing something about, kind of when they were in the captive in a room, that they talked about that this is the ministry of truth, or something like that. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I thought that was is Cassandra symbolic of something else?
Well, clearly we've got to do a little bit more digging. We got to, because that's a good question. And now you're going to have me digging. Just like I said, he's from India, and then you saw me putting all those other little strings together about India. And there's a lot about India that's just, it's something. It's, hey, it's something about them. I don't know what, but it's something. Um, what I thought was amazing too was how they had the no contact with each other. You couldn't touch, the man couldn't be with the woman. There could
Right,
be no
right.
touching, no intimacy, no getting to know one another, nothing. You could not do anything. And that's a form of control to stop you from even being able to procreate. I'm shocked that they had that little bad girl to turn her daddy in.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. But yeah, I was just wondering if I'm wondering if this book of Cassandra was somehow like if it was, if it could even be equivalent to the Bible. I thought it equaled the truth. And it but because to me that was your freedom, could that have been your freedom of religion in that book that you found in this book of Cassandra. And then also I remember the the wine, we have this wine and it's not available in the outside of the outer
Yeah.
party or something like that. I wasn't sure what was this. You can't really, this is not available to everyone.
Yeah,
So, but
it's just
it's
for
like
the
an
people in the
elite.
inner circle. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
people in the inner circle. You're not going to see this out there where you guys are, slumming around. You're not just going to find this on any corner. Yeah, the anti-sex league. Hey, Joseph Francis Burton, ladies and gentlemen. And I do
Who?
need to see that movie, They Live. Yes, I saw They Live. My son made me watch that. I watched it twice within like the last 3 months. It's the one where the guy puts the glasses on, right? Old head. He puts the glasses on and he can see everything. And then the people can disappear when they talk into their fancy hand watch. Yes, I did see that. That was a good movie. Oh, we ought to do that one. BlackSpring, we ought to do a review on that one too and
This
show
one,
how the
maybe.
correlation. Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
Prime too. Folks that are coming into the stream, we're just having a casual girl talk tonight. We had movie night, thousands of miles apart, but we synchronized our Prime, uh,
That
our
was
Prime.
excellent synchronization, I will
Yes,
say.
you did well. You did the countdown.
'Cause I
And-
thought I was off for a second, but then I was able to I just used my ear to figure out when as soon as I lined it up, I think to be honest, I think it was easier because of the year of this movie, the production of it made it there was never even a split second off. You know what
okay,
I mean?
yes,
I think
yes,
it was right on the whole time.
yes. I agree. I agree. The education part, excuse me, the re-education piece was really scary. And again, our laughter, ladies and gentlemen, is nervous laughter. We not laughing because we think it's a funny situation that this matches what we're going through right now. We are laughing very nervously. Ha 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 ha, that kind of laugh.
Yeah.
Because this right here, this is uber creepy. It's uber creepy. Um, Again, the re-education piece or the education, it wasn't even re. He just said, I'm going to educate you with education. He wanted to hip him to what was really said. You've been working for me for 7 years. 7 years is also very pivotal. 7 years
Yes, is
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 biblical.
that a yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I'm trying to remember what
Well,
is the
because
7-year significance
there's
here?
there's the 3.5 year period of peace, and then there's a 3.5 period after that where it's all chaos. So the setup for the latter 3.5 years was the early 3.5 years where things looked like they were okay. Some of the things people sort of side eye, you know what I mean? Like, oh, put
Mhm.
this on and you'll be safe. Put this on, let us protect you. Don't do this, stay in the house, let us protect you. And so that, right, will be the first 3.5 leading up to the second. And the first
Wow.
3.5 years dealing with the reign of the bad guy, I'm just going to leave that there, was laying a foundation of sort of fattening up the calf, getting them very comfortable with their surroundings, the situation, trusting them. It's okay. They like us. Why would they do that to us? They wouldn't do anything like that. clearly you're crazy, for those of us who are running around warning everybody, no, you're crazy. They would never do that. Um, then the seven and at the end, or the 3.5 year mark, what ends up happening is, yeah, it's total terror. So basically, this movie, if you notice, they were talking about 1983 in the
Right,
movie.
right,
So
right,
it was building up to 84. And
right,
84 was apparently going to be far worse. But my point is, it's the 3.5 year period prior to during the tribulation for the 7 years span. It starts there, but then it moves. And at that 3.5 year mark is when you begin to see things shift and change. This, if you were to consider, let me give an example. Okay, 3.5 years ago, or yeah, 3.5 years ago, what time frame was it? What was what?
it
2000,
was 2016?
the end of 16?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Okay. So let's just imagine that for the last 3.5 years, things have been going okay financially. We've noticed a few things that weren't right, but because we were okay, it couldn't be that bad. We just going ahead and we sort of, we grin and bear it. And then say, for example, that right now there's some crazy, crazy things going on. If we're still using that same timeline, and then after the end of this year, going into the top of next year, things get really crazy, and we're like, wait a minute, how do we get here? But by then, you've already given up most of your civil liberties, and it's pretty much a wrap, right? And so, right after that,
Right.
then it's on and popping, and it's on like Donkey Kong. You are not going to be able to reverse what they do, because you would have given up all of your power to them. And that's why the 83 piece stuck out to me, because it wasn't even the fulfillment of the 84, which meant they
Right,
were
right.
headed, yeah, they were headed into worse time.
Yes, because, they it seems like they kept the narrator, would give those dates, just before, he was corrected, or the thought police would show up, It's like I mean, yeah, I mean, there's another thing that I thought that was interesting about, why do I keep going back to the woman, Julia, on this movie?
I
It's
know why. I know why, because you're ramping up to our Jezebel series, and you have been wanting to dig into the Jezebel series for
Yes,
about a week, and
Jezebel.
you can't. But I know why you hard on Poe Miss Julia, because
What
because of the Jezebel series. You
but you
guys
know
were working
what?
on a Jezebel series, and that's why she's trying to, let the cat out the bag.
I'm trying to not to get her out too much, but, but at the beginning, at the beginning, when, when they were sitting down talking, the 2 guys were, Winston and the other guy, were sitting down talking, and Julia appeared, and I think basically, I guess with the whole anti-sex kind of, anti-sex kind of environment or whatnot, I think she kind of picked him out, or saw the sparkle or something in his eye, because, later, once he ended up getting that note saying, "Oh, can you meet me?" And then she confessed to him, "Oh, I can tell when somebody is not, you know what I mean, when they're not loyal, to the government or whatever." She basically kind of like, to me, she was kind of giving up the ghost right there. She was cracking the code right then, you
Well,
know.
and then look at how he had to defend himself while sitting at the table with another man, that he wasn't looking at the woman that just passed. I said, good night, Irene. Joseph Francis Burton. Yes, that is exactly it. Roddy Piper. And one of my favorite actors was with him. The tall black guy. What was his name? He was also in the television show Greenleaf. I absolutely love that actor. David, oh gosh, I can't remember his name, but yes, that's the movie, and that is the one with Roddy Piper, and I love that movie. That was good. I like the fight scene between those two. It was full of testosterone. Yes, it was. It was full of testosterone. You need to see it. It was full of testosterone, girl. It was a good movie. But no, that's why I think that he was sort of trying to play it off like, no, I wasn't looking at her. Oh no, mm-mm, no. But Trip, do you remember how he had to hide his book in the beginning?
Yes, he put it back to It's- Yes, he had a bit of a maybe, and I don't know, maybe this is my thing. He had a wandering eye, or and then I think about all the eyes in there. The it opens up with an eye coming into focus, and then
Wait
you
a minute.
know.
Yeah, of course he had a wandering eye. He ain't had none. The man sitting up there.
But
The man
he had
can't do.
a wandering eye everywhere. You
He
going?
did. He did. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, but it was to be expected. And it's like I keep hearing people say, "Oh, people, what if they here's it's like this big threat. Oh no, if they do that, these people are gonna come out the frame. They're gonna do this. They're gonna be up in arms." And I keep saying, ain't nobody did nothing by now. They're not gonna do anything. These people are
No, we're
so
already conditioned.
and so full of fluoride and so full of everything that you could possibly think of to slow you down. Right? They gave marijuana in California and all these other places. Everybody's gonna be like, "What? There's a what? Who's coming to do what, dude? Somebody's coming to do what to us? Oh man, Holmes, nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna have a good time." They've anesthetized the people. The people are not going to be able to fight back. Even the strongest cats now are like, man, I'm not getting involved in that mess. I go to work, I come home, I take care of my family. I ain't getting involved in none of that. But they keep pushing the button and the envelope because they're prepared for it to happen. And they don't even realize that what they've done has worked. What do you think, Black Spring?
Oh, I totally agree. I think it's parallel to what's going on right now. I think that kind of ties into what you were saying about the re-education kind of, when I hear about people talking about re-education camps around here, and the guy and the government guy telling them, this is the worst thing in the world, and he's squealing because these mice are all in this room with him, and then next thing he comes out writing. I've heard people, mocking the whole 2 plus 2 equals 5 thing, but that's really, people are willing to accept, they will accept that after so long. He was at the point of no return. He had been re-educated in room 101.
Yes. And he kept saying, you wanted to know what was in room 101. Well, you're going to find out. But look, did you notice how um, they were talking about believing in in that one particular figure? It's like he says, Eddie Murphy, Eddie Albert says, there is still hope for the world. I'm like,
Yes.
dude, your level of dumb is where a lot of people are right now. Yes, there's still hope for the world, but you are speaking to the enemy. And I have to keep going back to the fact that there was not two government people, one good, one bad. There was one government cat, Lauren Green's character, just one, two sides of one coin. How many months have you heard me screaming that? I know that old head Deuce has heard me screaming two sides of one coin for a minute. And that's exactly what that was. They were showing you it ain't two, it's one coin, and he got a front and he got a back. See,
Right.
um,
I'm starting to pick up what you're putting down there, because I did notice that there's still hope for the world. I remember that specific quote, but that's also kind of a philosophy, if we even go back to the muzzle, if you will. If we just save one, we just save one, it's worth, if we save one life, it's worth all of our freedoms. Yeah.
it's like, are you kidding me? Y'all ain't never cared before. You know what I'm saying? Where were you when? It's like you never cared before. Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to trust. Now I want to bring it down to, and I cannot do it because I'm on handheld device. Can you still hear me? I'm on a
Yes.
cell device. So I wanted to bring in the topic that the PJs. I have it. I took it on my Mobizen, and I clipped it. I shaped it. I clipped it, but I don't know how to use it on my cell phone. But anyway, there was a show where the PJs had done the what is it called? Oh, they had a flu van. Have you seen it? It was a
No.
flu van. It was a flu van, girl. They had a megaphone sticking it out the flu van, riding down the project streets, saying, "Black folk, come on over here. Y'all come get your, you black people, come and get your free flu shot. It's free. Come on, y'all. Free. Mean you ain't got to pay." And they were like, "Oh, we ain't got to pay. Come on, y'all." So they all started walking over to the van, like, "Yeah, we ain't got to pay. They gonna give us a free, something free." He says, "Wait a minute, you can't go over there. Don't you guys don't even know what's in this thing. You're gonna take it anyway." "I don't care." The old lady says, "As long don't touch my Medicare, my food stamps, my this and my that, I'm fine. I don't need no involvement from the government." I hit the floor. I said, "No, she didn't just name out every government subsidy and say, leave me alone. I'm fine. I don't need nothing. Just as long as I get all those things, I'm good." But what they were doing was they said, when they finally shooed this van away, "Go away, go away. We don't want your free flu shot." They say, "That's okay. Come on, let's get out of here. We're gonna have to figure out another way to get their DNA." And right out, I said, "Oh my God." I have it. So possibly tomorrow while we're on, I'm going to I'll pull it up while we're on our group live stream tomorrow night. That and then Oh yes, I have to talk about the fact. Did you see, you guys? This is our just our girls gossip. This is what we do. We sit up for like hours on the phone and talk. We just bringing y'all in. But did you see just recently on the Twitter bugs where homegirl from BLM was actually saying that they demand that this Biden administration do something for blacks now that they're in? Did you see that?
I think I caught a glimpse of it, but I didn't read it line for line. I just kind of saw something BLM and then demands, but maybe yeah, I did. I think I saw it, yeah, but it just I didn't pull into it too much. But I think that they're going to try to hold their feet to the fire because but that's the thing about Harris. She's opposite of what BLM. You know what I mean?
Well, wait a minute
She goes,
now. Let me just say this. I don't agree with them. Yeah, I know you don't agree with them about the whole BLM thing. That's just not me. I ain't into it. I already know too much about them. But isn't it typical of a sister to dance with a dude, and after she done let him grind a little too close to her, after that, the dance is over. Now she want to know, am I your girlfriend? She's actually she's actually asking this cat for a vow after you helped him get
mm.
where he's going. What dude do you know gonna accept a free ride and then turn back around and say, "Come on, girl, I got you"? Please. He told Ice Cube, "We'll see. I mean, we'll let you know. Yeah, we'll talk about it once we get elected. And we'll tell you.
Oh
We'll
my
let you know."
god.
So are you serious? I was like, "No, she did not say that we want to know what they're going to do for us now, blah, blah, blah. It was us that helped them get elected." Well, let's just go ahead on and be transparent, sister girl. It was not just you guys that helped them get elected. Anybody who volunteered and gave y'all money, if you go and follow Act Blue, it was going straight to him. So what do you call a chick that strolls the streets back and forth for a cat? What do you call the chick who takes the money from another cat, and after she's done kicking it with this cat, she take that money and she go give it to another cat, but that cat did not know that when he spent time with the chick, he was really giving the money to the other cat. I ain't saying that that's
Ooh.
what she is. But all I know
Wow.
is I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no, "Hey, Trip, you give money to the organization. Click the tab to see where the money gets donated, how they funnel their donations. Click the tab. If you put money in there, click the tab. It shows you where the money goes. Click it. It shows you that organization. And then you click that. And then it has his name right there. So let me get this right. All of these people have gone to your website, black and white people, unwitting, unknowing alike. They have gone to your website, they have donated for what you think they are going to believe is a worthy cause. The money goes through the blue button, Act Blue, goes from there, and then you see the list of people who are receiving the money. His name is the number one. And then, of course, the DNC is the other part. And now, after this dude done got elected and got all your money that you worked so hard for to give to him because you put your face out there on the corner. Okay? You done put your face on the corner. You done laid down. You done ran around with banners on every street corner.
She's been had.
You've been had, honey. You just got straight gaffled. You ain't the smartest sister in the bunch. I'm telling you right now. Because that dude ain't paying no attention to you. And anything he does do is just going to be for solidarity's sake. It's just going to be for face. That's it. And that'll be done really soon so that he doesn't have to see you anymore later on.
That's true. We got a little bit of we got a two sides of a madam and a something else and a captain something.
Joseph Francis Burton said now all the money is going to old boys, and I can't say the name too much, but his legal defense fund. Oh, he said, wow, that was a great way to look at it. I mean, come on now. Come on now. I mean, they're trying to be like they're so smart. Now, after he done rode the horse, you want him to put a saddle on it. The ride is over. The ride is completely over. Now it's like, now can I get my
now
saddle?
what can I get? Now
Now
what
what
can
can
you
I
give
get?
me?
Yeah, what can I get for 63 cents? You got 63 cents in your pocket. And this dude is rolling away in a Bentley, and you standing on that same corner that you were sparring for him for, strolling up and down on that same corner, and you ain't gonna get a coin, not one red coin.
Now is that leaving her with the bag? She's holding the bag.
But she holding a bag. Look, she holding a bag of cut up newspaper that felt like dollar bills. Okay, okay. She got the bag, but it's full of newspaper cut up and put in rubber bands. They got They got what look like feel like 20s rolled up, doubled. Okay, that's what she got. She got a bag full of paper, and he rolling off with the girl that everybody thought was a black girl, but she's actually an Indian. Okay, an Indian, and she has a Jamaican dad who is West Indian Jamaican. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he rolling off with the light skinned girl. He rolling off with Becky with the good hair. He got Becky with the good hair.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
yeah. Sorry, sister. There are no refunds. But he promised me. Okay, well, we'll get a message to him. Okay. Role play it with me. Role play it with me, Autumn. Say he promised. Say he promised.
He promised.
And like you ever been lied to before? You ain't ever been lied to before? Look like you've been lied to a few times. I mean, I just think it's crazy. And
It
see,
really is.
Joseph says, I don't think I've ever heard Biden even mention them. No, he has not. Well, actually, I digress because yes, I do have it on one of my compilations. He said something, but this was not now. This was years ago where he made a mention. He is like the guy who kisses and won't tell. Yes, he is exactly that dude. He is the dude that you only see at 12:30 at night after you done got off work. Look here. Let me paint the picture. I paint a perfect picture. Let me paint the picture for you, baby. Here's what it is. You go to work, you work all day, you get off, you go get your kids from the daycare, you take them to the house, you get your kids fed, you feed them, you get them their showers, do their little homework or whatever, put them in the bed. That's around 8 o'clock, right?
Mm.
Then you get the babysitter. The babysitter comes to the house about 10 o'clock. Kids is good and sleep at that point. Now you creeping out the house because you're gonna go over man's house. But you get there, and by the time you finish doing everything you gotta do, it's about 11:30, 12 o'clock. You hit Mr. Man's porch. About 3 hours later, you hitting Mr. Man's porch to carry your rump home. Meanwhile, everybody at the job notices the glow and thinks, gee, you look like you're having a really good life. And she's like, yes, you're something great. But you can't tell nobody about Man Man, and Man Man refuses to tell anybody about you. Sister, you don't have a man. You've got a bee call. That's what you've got. You are the bee
Yeah,
call.
you said it. You said it. I was trying not to. I was gonna.
You got a
Classic.
you
It's
got a bee call.
classic.
That's a classic bee call. You have been the
After 10,
bedman. You're the
it's
bedman.
all
You're the bedman. I'm sorry. I gotta say it. I gotta put it. I gotta put it. You're the bedman. That's
you that was
exactly what that is. I'm sorry to say it, sister. You should have got. Wait a minute. You bought how many and you did what? Do you have any proof of this? Do you have any proof that they said they were going to do this? No, we had a verbal agreement. Yeah. Okay. I tell you what, you stay downstairs at the security guard shack and we'll let them know you're here. 3 months later, he's still at the guard shack outside the White House.
wow. Well, we'll see. Oh my gosh. That yeah.
Hey, Maynard. Hey,
Hi,
this
DJ.
DJ Vision. How you doing, DJ? Yeah, totally, totally. So I just thought it was sort of funny and sort of silly of her to even put that on Front Street and say, that's me messing with a bag, you guys. I'm sorry. I thought that was sort of corny for her to even say, yeah, now we want him to pay us back primarily. Basically, we helped him get there and blah, blah, blah. Girl, honey, maybe you should have did your homework a little bit better because not only did you give up the name of your organization to these people that you first started for hopes of something that you thought was going to be okay to do, not only did you do that, and not only do you no longer own the entity that is your corporation that you started, that's now 501. I think, are they 501c3 now? Because are they not nonprofit? Are they a nonprofit? I don't know, but
I'm not sure about that.
well, not only have you given up all that you worked for these people and showed your whole entire behind, but now you got to go out publicly and beg for an audience with a cat that you was sparring for. I find that hilarious. I don't know. Go ahead, Autumn. You take over because I can't go. Just do whatever. Go.
Well, I'm not. The thing about it is, it's just I think most of these people that actually voted for that situation, I think that they seem to be quite proud that they've gone out and voted for 2 people that are the antithesis of what they say they stand for, because one of them's on record for, locking people up, and the other person's on record for doing that, and but yet you say you stand with these or other organizations who very well they would love to. They want a utopia that abolishes, most of these progressives, they want to abolish prisons altogether. So I don't know how that's working out for them. They went out and they voted for uh, you know, uh, you know, diabolical to me. And how can I say, the bend over party? I guess they're happy to
Well,
vote for the bend over
well,
initiatives.
you are not joking. But anyway, girl, it's been good having our girl talk. I'm glad we got a chance to see our movie 1984 tonight. Again, there's going to be a whole lot of pieces that will probably come up in our minds as we rest tonight and we think
Yeah.
about it, and then talk about it, and all that good stuff. We'll probably bring some more up tomorrow night. But tomorrow night we do have a four panel, and it is obviously Black Spring and Autumn and I, because we are a duo. And then we will have we're gonna have Demita tomorrow as well as Kim. And man, oh man, Demita, you thought that she did something when she brought up that document the other week. She's got some exceptional stuff to talk about tomorrow night. So I'm glad that you guys got a chance to stop in. Um, I want to thank you, DJ. I want to thank Maynard, as well as Joseph Francis Burton. He put his whole name up there. I like that. Um, I like that. Old head
Nice.
too. Yes, nice. It sounds stately, doesn't it? It sounds like he's a
Very
like a
much.
yes, like a governor or something like that. Mister Chef Chef Disaster. Ah, I'm just still floored. Brenda Davis, thank you so much for stopping in. All of you guys and everyone that's going to be watching this in the replay, I so appreciate you. Yes, that is Act Blue funded. Exactly. That's that button that we're talking about, DJ. They press that button and it takes you right to his pocket. And so I just think that it's kooky. It's a really kooky world that we're living in. If you guys haven't seen it, it's 1984. Only 49 minutes of watch time is all you have to dedicate there on Prime TV, Prime the app, Amazon Prime, which is another thing. You talk about only 3 countries. You're only going to have about 3 places to shop, and then in a minute it's going to be Taco Bell is a fancy restaurant like like a Demolition Man. It's going to be Taco Bell. It's going to be Prime. It's going to be Walmart. You can order on Walmart. You're going to be able to get your prom dresses from there, and the bubble that you'll have to wrap yourself up in to go to the prom on Walmart.com. Yeah, so pretty good movie, you guys. Again, we're just having a good Friday night and just a little fun. And so we just want to thank each and every one of you. And again, Black Spring, I appreciate you for accompanying me to this great movie that we had tonight.
Well, thanks so much for having me, and thanks so much to the audience. And you guys have a great weekend.
All right, y'all take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to come on out and hang out with us. And yeah, okay, night night.
Bye bye.